Hey everybody, welcome. Dedicated to financial literacy. Russell Moore coming to you live. Hey, I hope you're doing well. It's Friday morning. Yeah, that's right. 2 in the morning. It's Friday morning. Last day before the market closes for the weekend. It'll be back on Monday. But I wanted to encourage people. I want to encourage the retail investor. The institutional investor, those of Wall Street, the big boys, the suits they call them, they're not really sweating it. They've got billions that they're working with, and they've been through this before so many times. The analysts might be sweating a little bit because their jobs could be on the line. But overall, those investors are not really. What I'm concerned about is the retail investors. And but I wanted to kind of go over with you, just not to give you a bleak story, but just to let you know what the market is doing. It is pulling back, and many of the companies, great companies, are pulling back and are losing market share. I'm telling you, it is no joke. Palantir, let's take Palantir for example. Palantir has lost 32%. It's dropped 32% in 8 days. 30% has dropped. I think it was at 125, 130 a share. It's now sitting at around $83, $84 a share. Coinbase, 40% it's dropped in 90 days. Within the last 90 days, that's 3 months, 40% it's lost. Robinhood, the hood, it's lost a quarter of its value in the last 2 weeks. Robinhood, a quarter of its value. Wow. AMD 5%, dropped 5% today. Tesla 41% in less than 3 months it's dropped. 41%. MicroStrategy 50% it's dropped from its November highs in 2024. 50% it's dropped from its November highs. Whoa, the Qs. Q. NASDAQ has dropped 7% in the last 5 trading days. Last 5 trading days. I'm going to do a video on NVIDIA. Their numbers have been, it's amazing. I mean, they just had their earnings call for the fourth quarter, reporting their fourth quarter, 2024 in December. And their numbers are good. Yet, NVIDIA dropped 8% today. Between 7.5 and 8% it dropped today in 1 day. Even though his numbers were good. And to see, one of the things that Warren Buffett says this all the time that I usually try to remember. Warren Buffett doesn't focus on price. That's the thing with a newbie, a new investor, a retail investor. Many times, and I'm not saying you shouldn't look at price at all, but many times they pay attention to the price way too much. So if it drops, that means that stock is no good. Just because a stock drops, its price drops, that doesn't mean that the company is no good. That doesn't mean that at all. It could, but in many times, if the fundamentals were good last year, unless something drastic happens and the fundamentals of that company has not changed, you can stick it out, hang it in there, and endure through that painful time of the price dropping. Especially if you've gained a pretty good position in that company and it drops 30-40%. One person, if a stock drops 30%, they can lose $50,000-$60,000. Somebody new to the market that hadn't been trading that long, might lose a few hundred, $500 or $600. Well, yeah, of course you're not gonna trip like somebody who's lost more money. It has more skin in the game. But it's obvious that the market is pulling back. We're receiving some type of correction. Palantir right now is at around $84 a share. Coinbase is at around $208 a share. Robinhood, $48 a share. Apple's at around $237 a share. AMD is at around $100 a share, $99 a share. Honest. I've been big on Honest, that stock myself, that company. Honest is down to about $5 a share. It's went down 36% in 3 months. Now, if you bought a lot of shares at Honest, I could see a lot of people ready. I'm selling. I'm buying the dip. Baby. $5, I'm getting more. I'm gobbling up some more shares. You got to keep an eye on the fundamentals and what the company is doing. Keep an eye on the fundamentals. So here's what I want to encourage the retail investor, new investor. It could be your first major correction. It could be your first time where there's been a major pullback, and you're seeing, we may even enter into a bear market. Okay, don't freak out. Most of the times, the newbies, they'll freak out at this time. Start selling stock. Start telling people to sell stock. Start talking about selling stock. They've already sold stock. Because they're giving up. Don't give up. Don't give in. Don't give in to the pressure, I should say. That's the new one. There's another type of new investor, retail investor, where they've been in the game for a few years and they've experienced at least one correction. So they know, okay, I bid it last time. I gave in and I sold. But this time I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to pay attention to the company and not so much the share price. The price is going to drop from time to time, you guys. The company that your greatest, Nvidia, Microsoft, Meta, some of the stocks that have had all-time highs in the last year or so, they're going to drop at times. I think Meta's down about 7-8% this week. Meta's balling. It's a good stock. It's a good company. Mark Zuckerberg is doing a great job over there right now. They're balling. They got Llama going, Facebook, Messenger, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram. They're balling. They're getting their ad revenue is up. It's amazing. It's incredible what they're doing over there. So don't give in. Don't give up. But the second type of retail investor, the newbie, they'll buy the dip. You're not panicking. They trust their research. They believe in the companies. And they're not paying attention to the stock price much at all. Warren Buffett, like I said, says he doesn't even look at stock price. Once he knows that company has sure fundamentals and it meets all of his criteria from a fundamental standpoint, he does not move. He's not moved by the price. The price will catch up with the fundamentals. You guys hear me? Let me say that again. The price of the stock will catch up to the fundamentals, whether good or bad. If the fundamentals are bad and the price of the stock is high and it's at a high valuation, eventually that stock will catch up with its fundamentals. There is no lying in this game. There is no lying in this game. The truth will come out. The truth will be exposed. The truth of the fundamentals of that company will be exposed at one point. So even though everybody's on the bandwagon and they're buying that stock and the shares and it's going up and it's going up, the fundamentals don't lie. And that's what you got to be focused on. That's what that new investor that's been in the game a few years, they've learned a few things. That's how they're thinking. Then you have the doubters, retail investors. They speak doubt, they speak unbelief about their companies. They have no confidence in their companies, and they're speaking and they're talking about them and they're speaking to them and they're not paying attention. During a correction, here's what I've learned over the years. Been dealing with the stock market for a long time, 15 to 20 years. And let me tell you something. When a correction happens, you should immediately find out what the CEO is saying. Find out what the COO is saying. They're going to be speaking. They're going to be talking. They're going to be on the CNBC. They're going to be somewhere, and they're going to be speaking about. They're going to be talking about what's going on with their company, the climate, and the market. They're going to be talking about what's happening, and it can help you get a little bit more. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I can see my power is a little low. There we go. They're gonna bring clarity to the chaos. Most of them. Some of them will. I don't know. Ackerman during the COVID. Ackerman. I don't know. Bill Ackerman. To me, he was kind of losing it. So I'm not saying every CEO, every big person, big guy out there is saying the right things and won't have a little bit of dread. You find out who the real CEOs are in a time of correction and a time of a bear market. You find out. You find out who's really going to hang in there and stick it out. And you'll see a peace and a calm that won't be moved. So that's what I'm saying. If you have companies and then you experience a bear market, your shares, your stock price starts going down of many of your companies, and you're like, oh my God, I'm losing money. One of the things you want to do is find out what the CEO is saying. Okay. The doubter speaks doubt, speaks unbelief, and they start thinking that the stock market it's rigged. It's gonna, and it is to some degree. But you can beat the rigs. You can beat the market. You can beat the market through patience and diligence and research. I can't tell you enough. Research. What are my 4 R's? What are my 4 R's? Read. Research. Retain. And ride. I'm going to say... You guys hear what I'm saying? I've got all these notes here. I've been just writing notes today. And I've been writing today, just keeping it on track of what's going on with the market. But the doubters speak doubt. They speak unbelief about their stocks and about the situation, about the market, about the economy. Everything they say is negative. Don't be a doubter. Don't be a doubter, retail investor. And then you have the experienced investors, retail investors, man. Right now, they're happy. You see joy in their face. The experienced retail investor right now, there's joy on his face or her face. They see it as a golden opportunity. And especially if they missed the last correction. Say there was a company that they were thinking about investing in, and it dropped. There was a correction, maybe a year and a half ago, a year ago, and they didn't buy the dip. The experienced investor is looking at that company and now and saying, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm buying the dip this time. And it's dropped well enough, and the valuation is good enough, and it's a pretty good price. I'm going to go in. I got a second chance. That's what the experienced investor says. Now they can buy that stock on a discount. They've also hedged in anticipation of a correction or a bear market coming. They've hedged a lot of their companies and a lot of their stock portfolio. So they've got put options in. And so right now, when the market corrects, they're actually making money. I was laughing looking at Jeremy with financial education. He had put some put options for Costco. And look, I'm not trying to invent the wheel. I'll mirror you. If I see you got a good idea, he put in some put off options for I think Walmart, Costco, and it dropped. It dropped, and he made good money. Thank you for that tip, Jeremy. See, the experienced investor, that's what they're going to do. They're going to have something in place and prepare for a correction. Now, nobody can time the market. What do they say? It's not timing the market. It's time in the market that you spend is what's going to get you over. Your willingness to put the time in. The experienced investor has anticipated that there's going to be a correction. He knows that his stock isn't going to trend up forever. She knows that stock is not going to keep trending up. So they've prepared by hedging. They are making money as the stocks fall. And they will increase their position in good companies. See, this is a time where the experienced investor is saying, I'm going to increase my position. Not get scared. Oh no, I'm losing money. What do I say all the time? Here's what I say. You have not lost until you sell. So everybody says, I lost money today. No, you didn't. Your portfolio dropped in price, in value. That's all that happened. Value can be regained. I'm going to say that one more time because some of y'all didn't get it. I said, your portfolio dropped in value. But value can be regained, and it will regain. It will come back. So stop saying you lost money today. Did you sell it? Did you sell the stock? Did you sell any of your shares at a loss? Then you haven't lost yet. It's not a loss until you sell. It's not a gain until you sell. And somebody says, oh, I profited so much, 70% today. Shut up. Stop telling people that. It's not a profit until you sell it as a profit. It's what you do with the sell. When you sell. If you sell it at a loss, then yeah, it's a loss then. If you sell it at a profit, yeah, it's a profit then. But if you haven't sold it, even though that company, that stock has increased 60, 70%, if you have not sold, you have not profited yet. You have not profited from it yet. It's not till you begin to sell some of those shares at a profit. That's when it's a profit. When you sell it at a profit. All right, gang. Hang in there. We know stocks are dropping. But the experienced, the retail investor that's been in this thing for a while, they're rejoicing at this time. They're not scared. They're not scared. They're not panicking. Pay attention to your company. Go deeper in your dive for your research. Find out what your company is up to. That's what I did with Alibaba. That's why right now, Baba dropped this today about 3 or 4%. I'm buying more. I'm looking at China. I'm sorry. I'm not telling you what to do. There's my disclaimer. Don't you go out and buy Alibaba because I said it. Only buy it after you've done your own research. All right? Here we go. All right, let me close in prayer. And so I'm just going to call this video Advice During the Correction. Advice during the correction. All right. Father, I thank you for everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice, that pays attention to my channel, my friends, family, and church friends. I'm asking you to cause them to be strong in their faith during this time. They'll not give in. They'll not give up. Just because the market is dropping, they won't give in. They won't give up. They'll stay the course. They'll pay attention to what the CEOs are saying. But even more than that, they'll listen to what the Holy Ghost is saying. For those that are born again and are believers, they'll pay attention to what's going on the inside of them about that stock. They'll continue to look and pay attention and do research and pay attention to the company and not so much the share price. The share price can be deceiving. So I take authority over deception, and I thank you for blessing them. For those that hang in there with their stocks, I pray that you would bless them. And I speak for supernatural abundance this year. Jubilee abundance. An abundance this year that they've never seen. Thank you, Lord, for keeping them and watching over their portfolios in Jesus' name. I give you all the praise. I give you all the glory and honor, Lord. I wish above all things that you may prosper, be in health, even as your soul prospers. One of my favorite scriptures, Psalm 37. Here's what it says. David said this, King David of Israel. He said, I was young, but now I'm old. But I've never seen the righteous forsaken, or his seed, his kids, begging for bread. God bless you. It's going to get greater later, as Jay Stone used to say.